we talk about Saturday night? Because we had a thriller in Vegas. Terence Crawford became the first male boxer to capture 3 unified division titles when he defeated Canelo Alvarez by unanimous decision to win the super middleweight championship before a record crowd of 70,000 plus. Crawford moved up 2 weight classes, went down with a knee even before the decision was announced, and could not hold back emotion after he was named the winner. Stephen A., you were there. What was your biggest takeaway from this epic fight?
Terence Crawford is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his distance. He had poise in the ring, he wasn't rattled. He backed up and moved when necessary and kept us different. He exchanged enough to gain respect when necessary. It was a brilliant, brilliant, masterful fight on Terence Crawford's part, and it was definitely a legacy fight, something he had told me. He had been telling me for the last 2 years. He had one time I was at a UFC event, Molly and Cam, at the Sphere, and he was down there ringside and had somebody summon me down ringside just to come and talk to him and emphasize how badly he wanted the Canelo fight. And I was worried about him moving up, 3 weight classes, because he was 147 at the fight. It was before he fought Madrimov. And to watch him do what he did Saturday night against Canelo, showing that he was the superior boxer, that he could take a punch, that he could certainly give it, that he was strong. I can't say enough about him. As far as I'm concerned, pound for pound, Terence Crawford is the best on the planet as we speak right now. He's the man.
Stephen A., a lot of people are calling him the GOAT of this generation.
Yeah.
Cam, what'd you think when you were watching that?
Now, I'm giving the fans' perspective, right? And there's not a lot of times in combat sports where we have not only a cultural phenomenon fight, we have an ethnic phenomenon fight, right? We've seen, African-American fighters and Mexican fighters fighting for years and decades, if not centuries. But what I would say, this fight kind of reminded me back when Floyd Mayweather fought Oscar De La Hoya, where if we go back to Pretty Boy Floyd and he had to dethrone a champion in that specific right, not just from the belt standpoint, but from the status. Hey, I walk in your trap and take over your trap. We've seen literally Crawford go at Canelo. And my whole thing from the fans' perspective is, how does he handle the moment? Is the moment too big? Right? We see the statistics from the Netflix ratings to, how many people were in the stadium and those type of things. He never was rattled. And he stopped Canelo's forward momentum. And every time Canelo got an opportunity to really try to show him up or try to impose his will, it never altered, how Bud really attacked him in this fight. I'm thoroughly impressed. And really one of those things that you got to look back and say, hey, when do we start giving respect to people that aren't the flamboyant type, who isn't the person that's going to rah-rah you to, that may not be the biggest showman, but he is definitely the man for the occasion.
He's still the show. And Stephen A., going up 2 weight classes, it's just unbelievable.
And to me, it's really 3, because he had only fought once at the 154-pound pound division when he fought Madrimov. But the point is that for the most part, he had been fighting at 147. After dominating the junior welterweight division, he went up to welterweight, and he had been dominating that division. He only fought 1 fight to condition himself to move up to additional weight classes after that. So I view it as him going up 3 weight classes, which is where that's the only part about what Cam said where I would disagree with the comparisons between Floyd Money Mayweather and Oscar De La Hoya. Because Floyd did great things, and he was untouchable. And I still think that he's one of the marvelous, if not the most marvelous, defensive fighter we have ever seen. You got cats that can take a punch. With Floyd, you couldn't punch him. That was the problem. You couldn't find him. Okay. It was one time when he fought against Canelo. Canelo literally swung, and Floyd tapped him and said, "I'm behind you." That's how magnificent of a defensive fighter Floyd Money Mayweather was. But in saying all of that, Terence Crawford moving up multiple weight classes, that's different. That's transcendent. To look the way that he looked, moving up against a dude that, this is Canelo we're talking about. Canelo will put you to sleep now. He ain't had a knockout since 2021, but the brother's spectacular and only had 2 losses in 35 fights and has never, ever been knocked out. But to go in the ring against him and to outclass him, particularly in rounds 10, 11, and 12, because I had it 5-4 Crawford after the 9, and then he won the last 3 in my estimation. To see him doing what he did, it was really, really impressive. He's that dude right now. Make no mistake.